on in the room. Come on in the room. You are here. We welcome you. We're grateful that you decided to stop on by again for our second week. Welcome to the check in with Coach Nikki. I am Coach Nikki. We are here. We are grateful for you being here. Um, and it is 7 o'clock on a Thursday. Somewhere it is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Somewhere. We are so grateful for you being here. We're so thankful that you came again to join. Um, I know I'm working on some things, right? And this is clearly a different space. And I did get some feedback about some things, but I do have to say this, right? So clearly, you don't have to know everything that happens here because baby, it showed up, it's here, it's in good quality, and you're present. You are here to be a part. However, comma, there are things that just happen here, and it kind of almost makes you feel like, am I supposed to be on? And so I am here, I am present and accounted for, and I'm grateful. I am Coach Nikki. I am your transformational coach, motivational speaker, author, and all things a good time. But no, also a big part of this is that I am now a podcast host. And so we here at the check in, we just want to, for real, take the time and opportunity just to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments, right? Because you could be doing anything else and you're here with us. So we really just want to kick off with saying that. So really just to get into what our topic is tonight. Our topic tonight is setting boundaries without guilt. I know somebody immediately said, wait, what? Why boundaries? Why now? Who are you? Who are you to tell me? I got so many other things I could be. I don't want to talk about that. It's a hard thing. What you mean without guilt? Like it's gonna be all of the things, friend, and we're gonna get a chance to deep dive into it. But before we get into our topic, I want to start as we will every segment. Right, we're gonna start off with. I'm sorry, every episode we're gonna start off with the check in. What's your capacity? So that is how we got here. That is how this became a thing. Is through the check in. The check in was created back in a time where I was enduring some grief and things happen, friend. You assume or you think you know all of your emotions or all of your feelings or all of the things, and then you realize, oh yeah, that's not it. Oh, I need something else. Oh, I need to figure this out. So I lost my mom a few years ago, and as most things, right, as you are in grieving spaces, people just show up. People call and ask, do you want some company? Do you want people to show up? And in this instance, someone called and said, hey Nick, is it okay if I come over? My position was yes. Come on over. Come on in the room. It took them almost 2 to 3 hours to get there. In the moment that they showed up, I didn't necessarily want to entertain. I didn't necessarily want to be a part of conversation. So I end up just sitting. But I never checked in on myself. What I realized is that our emotions are super fluid. What I feel in one space, I may not feel in every space. Right? What I feel at this moment, I may not feel in the next moment, and that our emotions change throughout the day. So I created what is now known as the check-in, really just for me. And then I realized that some other people may need what I'm offering or what I do for me. And so what I did is I created something super simple because I also know a little bit more about me. And one of the things I know about me is that I'm a little indecisive, right? So if you give me way too many choices, like a cheesecake factory menu, baby, if you give me all 12 of those pages, I'm sitting, I'm flipping, I'm like, oh, I want this, but maybe I want that. Oh, I want to try this, but maybe I want to try that. Right. So I don't need a whole lot of options, but I do need the options. Right. So the check-in is from 1 to 5. One being I'm present and that's all I have. Five being this is the most amazing moment. Again, what I also realized is that because our emotions are fluid throughout the day, I needed something that would get me in the moment, right? So I needed to know how I felt in the moment that I'm being asked. So what I realized with that friend is in the moment that she asked, I genuinely wanted company. In the moment that she arrived, I didn't. Right. And so this check-in that we use and we will use in every space here, right? It is used for that in the moment. So in the moment that you get to see this video, in the moment that you're even if you're live and present with us today, in the moment that you endured this space, or in the moment that you check in on yourself that has nothing to do with this video, where you are in the moment, right? So in the moment, right now, we are now at 7:05. In this moment, my ask of you is where you are. Yes, this is an interactive podcast. This is something totally different, and we'll talk about that in a second. But in the moment where you are, right? And so in this moment at 7:05, I'm checking in at a 5. I'm checking in at 4.5. It would be a complete 5 if when I went to hit that button. Oops, this is me teaching you a little bit, right? No, in this moment, not what happened 5 minutes ago, not what happened 10 minutes ago, but in this right now moment where you are. That's the benefit of the check-in. The check-in, not that we don't consider the things that happened before, and not that we don't consider the things that are going to happen after, but in the moment, sometimes we just have to respect this place and give it its just due. And we don't, because we tend to focus on where I want to be in 10 years and where I want to be next week and what I want to eat for dinner. And we miss celebrating, right? Or being a little sad in the moment that we're in, or giving it its credit because we won't pause. We refuse to pause because we on a mission. We going, we getting there, we on our way. And this check-in reminds you that you get to breathe and consider, right? It's not the ooh mommy mission where I got the bag, I got the kids. Dang, I forgot the bag, I forgot the kids. It's not oh my god, I gotta get my spouse thing and make sure he had the thing. Oh, it's not that. It's that this is your moment in this moment, right? And you get to check in. And so, yes, I actually do. If you're in a space or on a platform that we're using that allows you to put comments, I do ask you to put the comments. I do ask you to put it there. I do ask you to be a little vulnerable, right? Because there is something that happens when I'm honest with me, right? So, had I had a moment before my friend came, or had I taken the moment as my friend arrived to check in on me, my response could have been something like what we're going to talk about today. My response could have been like, hey, babe, I appreciate you being here. But in this moment, I just don't have the capacity to handle somebody in my space. It'd have been a way to have a conversation with no guilt, not feel like I owe them anything, not feel like if it was some awkward silence that it was my fault. It would have created a space for me to get what I needed while also offering them a space of assertiveness in my conversation and my communication, but also reminding them and giving them my truth. And so what we're going to learn today about boundaries is boundaries creates a truth. So this check-in also helps you to create boundaries. So we haven't done a full check-in in our space yet, and I think we'll do it next week. But the check-in right now, all you want to know about is the numbers. So 1 is I'm present, and that's all I have to offer in this moment. And 5 is this is the most amazing moment. So in this moment at 7:08, this is the most amazing moment for me. Why? Because I get to be here with you and do this thing again. For those, if this is your first time, welcome. To those who are always returning visitors, what up, though? And to my people who've been here for years on this journey with me, hey, family, right? I'm giving you all because I want you all to know that I appreciate this space. I appreciate you coming. You could be doing anything else, running in that rain, trying to run from a thunderstorm. You could be laid up, you could be booed up, but you are here with me, and I am grateful. So let's kind of get into our topic, right? So our topic today, again, like I said, our topic for tonight is going to be setting boundaries without the guilt of having to do so. One of the things I think about when we think about boundaries immediately is the fear of hurting other people. It's something about when we say we're going to put up these boundaries, we immediately consider how it impacts, affects, or may bother somebody else. Well, the hard part is that's not the concern, right? We spend a lot of time being concerned about how this or how this decision may hurt them or impact them. What I need you to remember is that, especially with the check in, a big part of this space is that it's about you first, right? I don't know if you've been on a flight before, but if you have, there's some instructions. They get these long instructions, baby. If you've been on more than one flight, you don't want to hear them every time. But there is something that they say that I feel like we can take and put into this space, right? It doesn't matter who you're traveling with. They don't care who's sitting beside you. They tell you, they talk to you as though you're on the plane alone, right? They have these instructions. They gave the seatbelt thing, and you do this other thing, and you blow this thing up if it's, maybe I don't work there, so I don't really know. But it's, they, they got it. It's on the thing. You can read it if you want the brochure thing. But there's this air mask, oxygen mask that they talk about. And when I immediately think about oxygen, I think about life. I don't know about you, but if they're talking about this oxygen mask in case things happen, this thing gonna drop down, and you are to put it on yourself first before you help the person beside you. Nikki, why are you making it so intentional? I'm making it intentional. I need you to hear me. These strangers are saying to you that this oxygen mask that will save your life is going to drop down, and it also drops to the person beside you. Imagine flying with your child, your spouse, your parents, your sibling, right? And immediately you want to go help them. But if you don't first take care of you in this seat, you can do nothing for them, right? Scary, right? It gives a little. I use that analogy because it makes it a little plain for you. So if things are crashing, if life is coming at you fast, if the plane is about to explode, or you need to jump, or you need to do anything, you can't do anything effectively for anybody unless you put your mask on first. And so setting boundaries, instead of immediately thinking about the outcome for the other person, this is the time and the space for you to immediately think about you. Right. So as we start talking about boundaries and the why and a little bit of the how, right? A big thing that you need to consider is you. This isn't about being selfish. This isn't about being nasty, right? This is about considering you. One of the things I've learned is that once you start considering you, you now teach others how to consider you. Once you start taking care of you, once you see you as the priority, then others will then take it as an important space. They will now consider you in their conversation. They'll consider you even in their ask of you. But you have to learn how to consider you. Because I immediately would think that in panic mode, right, I would immediately want to try to put my mask on me. That would be me. I'm trying to help. And then forgetting that with less oxygen, I am no longer able to help as much. So if we don't set up these boundaries, I need you to consider some of these boundaries that I'm asking you to start setting up for yourself are a part of your oxygen, right? Some of these are the things that you're gonna have to do to breathe. They're gonna be necessary in your next. They're gonna be necessary for you to get the things that you want. That you're gonna have to have some capacity to do things for you. That if you continue to say yes to them, you won't ever be able to say yes to you, right? And so I use a word and I kind of want to bring it kind of like to the same space. And so bounce back, and this is a word that I created a while ago, and we use it in a space, right? And so one of the things that I think of, so to give you a little definition before I kind of move on, the definition of bounce back, and this is a person who can see beyond what they see, and is willing to make that thing happen for themselves in an uncomfortable space despite the naysayers, even when the naysayers are themselves, right? So this is a person who's willing to say, like, I know this thing may hurt me. I may can't give this mask to my kid because I know they deserve it and they need it, but I'm willing to do the uncomfortable, right? The unconventional, to make sure I get what's necessary and what I need. Right. And so a person who is standing in their bounce back in this may understand a little different that I gotta put this mask on first. Right. Like I mentally gotta change my mind to make sure that I get my kid taken care of. I mentally gotta change my mindset so that I have the energy to do the task that is asked of me by my friend. I mentally gotta change my mind. Like I have to be uncomfortable in these things, which means that I may have to tell you no today so that I can say yes to you tomorrow. Right? Because if I give you my yes today, I may not have the capacity to do these things, not just for me, but for my kid, for my family, for anybody tomorrow, because I gave you this yes, even though I did not have capacity. Right? So these boundaries are going to be able to help you understand what you can do in your capacity and be able to say it out loud. Right? And then realizing that your no is not necessarily a denial. It's something about when we have to say no, because in creating boundaries, no is necessary. I'm saying it slow, right? And when creating these boundaries, no is necessary, right? Again, y'all heard me? In creating boundaries, saying no is necessary, right? And so what we have to realize is that the no isn't to the person. Me saying no does not equate that I don't love you, right? Me saying no does not equate to I'll never ever. Me saying no doesn't mean rejection of you as a person. Me saying no to what ask in a moment has nothing to do, right, in who you are to me, right? But the no is necessary. Good. Yeah, thank you, Shay. So in the comments, no is necessary. No is necessary in creating these boundaries for me to be able to do what I can do the next time. Again, we're talking about where you are in this space and creating boundaries, right? And so the no is the biggest part. That's it's actually one of the hardest things, right? Because we have made no be negative, but no to you is oftentimes a yes that I can offer to myself, right? Because if I give you no in the space when it's an actual no, that means that for me, I need to probably rest. I need to be still, right? I don't really have the capacity, meaning my emotional capacity, meaning my spiritual capacity, meaning my mental capacity, meaning even my physical capacity to do what your ask is. Because if somebody offered you no, don't take it personal. As a matter of fact, you should start to celebrate people who are offering you the no. They're bold enough to say it to you. They're bold enough to offer it to you because no comes at a price because we've created it to be negative. Versus receiving that this person is able to stand in what they know they need and what is necessary in the moment. Then there's a space where we have to realize we overextend that yes, right? So I'm gonna give you an example, and sometimes I think a lot of times people learn from me because I share my life open in space. So a few years ago, I was working for the health department here in our city, and I did not feel well when I got up. As a matter of fact, didn't feel well the day before, but I also didn't feel well the day I got up. And I knew my team was a little short-handed, but I was like, as usual, most people, I'm just gonna help somebody who think that they are the team, right? I'm gonna help somebody in this moment who is like, I gotta show up. And so I did. I showed up to work. Head was throbbing. I just did not feel good at all, right? And so I get to the desk and I'm there and I'm working and I'm checking in a patient, and that patient goes and leaves, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel good. And I put my head down, and when I look up, there's a wheelchair there because evidently I had leaned over a little further than I should have, and me showing up, right? Again, we're talking about boundaries and how necessary they are and how we do these things without guilt. And so this is me in a space where I should have set a boundary and I didn't. Right? So I show up, they come and they pick me up and they take me to the back. My blood pressure is extremely high, like extremely high. So they get me to an ER. I get to the ER, and there's some other things that are happening. The short of it is that I did not offer my no, right? Meaning I could have went to the doctor on my own that morning, maybe even rested, maybe even did some other things, but I didn't. And so they get me to the back. I get to the space. I get, and I'm out of work for 6 months. 6 months. Where I had capacity to probably go to a doctor's office, get it managed a certain type of way, made some time that was for me. I offered the job my yes and myself a no. Right? I didn't consider it that way until I've endured it already. Right? But I offered myself a no and the job a yes. Let me help y'all a little bit. As much as those people love me at that job, as much as when they see me, they hug on, love on me, asking about my children, still today, right? They love me. When I came back, somebody else had my job. I just need to know that in the mindset that you believe that you're the irreplaceable thing, when people have something to do, baby, they will replace you. When you off the same yes in the same space that you give yourself so freely, right? So immediate, right? So without care, right? That same space will offer you a, oh my God, I had to get somebody to do this. This is not the time. They will replace you, right? Because the job still has to get done. So this inevitable thing that you thought you had that you offered to them that nobody else can do, I got this. This is me. This my space, this my title, this maybe it's a job. So if you continue to not create boundaries, I'm helping somebody, to not create boundaries that gets you to your next, maybe you are replaceable. God forbid I had died at that desk. I also too would have still leaned in a little bit, y'all, been replaceable. Right? But the boundaries were necessary by me. They don't set boundaries for where my life is. They don't set the boundaries of how I take care of myself. I do. The catch is I didn't. Because there's something that we feel like we owe people to be present every time. And that's not our actuality. The actuality is it's my job to take care of me, to set these boundaries and don't move. Again, you got to put the mask on you first before you can help. In that moment, I didn't put no mask on and I lost, right? One of the things I need you to also get as you're starting to set boundaries is your boundaries got to be firm. You got to like say them and stick to them, right? You have to be able to say it and mean it. Your language has to actually change, right? So some of the things that you have to do is being able to say, "This is it. I'm not available, but this time." Right. The other part is no is a complete sentence. I'm gonna help somebody save somebody right there. No is a complete sentence, right? And then you also have to realize that for this in a change, for some of us, it's gonna make some people uncomfortable because you've always offered the yes. You didn't have any boundaries. All the time that you had was theirs, right? All the space that you were given was theirs, right? So this is going to be awkward for some, but just because it's uncomfortable for them doesn't mean it's wrong. I'm going to help somebody. It may be uncomfortable for them, but it doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. Because you have to remember, you're setting these boundaries enough for you, right? That you're setting these boundaries enough for you. They're big enough for you. They may not understand because you don't owe them an explanation. What ends up happening is we find ourselves when people say, when you say no, or when you're changing behavior, or when you're moving different, or when you're in the house before you used to be outside, or when anything changes, other people who benefited from you being outside, people who benefited from you offering the yes, got a question and you're acting funny, and I don't like how you're moving and all of the things. And you owe them nothing, friends, right? And then you become uncomfortable because you feel like you owe them all of these things. I'm giving you permission to just offer them to know. But if you want to, right? And again, I'm a human, and I know that it won't be always as easy as I'm making it sound in this moment. Create some phrases that work for you, right? Create some spaces that work for you, right? So, you know what? I really love to help, but I can't today. I can't today. I really love to help, but I can't in this moment. Let me get back to you after I go do what I need to do. What it does is it affirms them to let them know, like, this ain't no hard no, but in this moment I can't. Nikki, why are you giving me tools if you told me to say no? Because for some people, no is not that easy. I'm saying it and giving you empowerment to say that you could, but for some people, at one place in time, it won't be that easy. Right? So I want to encourage you to say, hey, create you some phrases beforehand. Though I need you to work on your phrases, practice in a mirror. It works because what you're actually going to be doing is teaching yourself how to respect you. So go into the mirror and be able to say to yourself, that doesn't work for me. And then be able to say it in a tone that is assertive, not aggressive, because the no ain't hard. Again, what we're saying is these boundaries aren't rejection of people, it's rejection of the ask in the moment, right? These no's right now in this space, these boundaries are for you to be able to take care of you. And if you remember that, it won't make it as hard, right? If you remember your why, if you remember why you're setting these boundaries, it will remove the guilt, right? The guilt only comes because you feel like you owe others first. And as we've talked about already, the mask goes on you first. So you have to take care of you first, right? I can't do anything effectively anywhere, whether that be in your marriage, whether that be in raising your children, whether that be in ministry, whether that be as an educator or a leader. You can't do any of that effectively or good or firm or stand in it if you don't take care of you. And then even if you're like, Nikki, I do, and I go first and I do it, and it is good. Eventually, baby, it's gonna fall to pieces because we can only mask it but for so long. I can only stand in uncomfortability but for so long. I can only fake it until I make it, if that's what y'all want to do. But for so long. Because eventually in some space you're gonna lose you. And what I'm asking you to do and what I'm offering as you create these boundaries, remember that you owe it to you to do so. Right? So the guilt, like I said, the guilt only comes because you have given some extra to the person who needs it. Right? So the person who usually has a difficult time, or what happens psychologically for some of us if we don't. Because I used to be a person, I did the things for the people. I was a friend talking at 2 and 3 in the morning outside in the car if that's what you needed. In the house, you could come. I was negating other things of me because I wanted to make sure that people had what they needed. But what I created was codependency. Right? What I created was that these people could no longer do and go find what they needed as a source because I became the source. Leaning a little bit, you are never created to be anybody else's source. What you should do is be a resource, connect them to something else, right? But if you do not, and you that person becomes codependent upon you, right? It now is, I need your approval. I gotta hear what you gotta say. I need you to need me. I want you to need me. And then y'all both are dependent upon each other for you all to, for somebody, the one person to stand, and I can't stand without you. But we create boundaries so that we don't get here, right? These boundaries are not created so I can stand whether you show up or not. But if you become the only anchor that somebody else has, they will never learn to stand. And your thing is now wrapped up into, I only want this friendship, or this friendship is only beneficial when I'm giving and you receiving, and now we got a problem. Again, we're setting boundaries without guilt. The only way to do that is for you to remember that you are the priority. The biggest way to understand that is you are the priority. You have to check in on you first. You have to take care of you first, right? If you realize that every friendship that you have, people calling you and no, and they only calling you because they need, not because they checking, then you've become the crutch, right? You are the crutch, friend. And if you're like, no, because it is two ways, and no, because they do. But but if you start looking at the messages, and you always reaching out first, and when they do reach out, it's can I, may you, when you, can you, how can you? You have now crossed every boundary and let go of who you are. And that made people respect who you are. Like the biggest part is making people respect who you are. Again, when I say make, it's not aggressive. It's just doing gentle things that create these boundaries that make sure you make yourself safe, take care of you, and move forward. Again, like without clear boundaries, it creates an emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. So you wonder why you can't think about what you need because you're so overwhelmed by what everybody else needs because people keep dumping because you've allowed it. Right? So one of the things you'll learn next week when we talk about in depth about what the check-in actually is, right? What you'll realize is people dump on you because you allow them to, and then you have nowhere to place their stuff because you hold it and you want to be the fixer because in your mind that's the validity of your relationships. I'm gonna help somebody. I'm gonna free somebody. If you think that the only reason that if you realize that the only reason that you're their friend is because you fix their things, that's not friendship. That's not healthy relationship. That's not you creating boundaries. If your friends don't know how have any idea of how to maneuver on their own, when you tap out or when you decide I can't do it today, then you have become their anchor and their crutch, which means they're codependent, and the only success that they will ever have is because you did it. How ineffective in friendship is that? How ineffective in relationship is that? Right? One of the other things that I've realized is in without boundaries, right? Without you setting boundaries, it is hard for you to start to trust people, right? Because what you've done is you've made all of your connectors be beneficial of work. Meaning the only time, kind of like what I just, the only time that these friendships show up is when you need me to do some work. is when you need me to handle the situation, is when you depend on me to give you an answer, right? Now you don't trust nobody because in your mind you think everybody need and want, and you can't find or define who you are or whose you are, what you're necessary, what you're needed for, or when you need somebody, right? One of the ways that you can help. So, Nikki, how? Okay, fine. You told me all the things. Now I realize, baby, that people use me. Now I realize I let them use me. Now I realize that I'm identified by my friendships only when I can help them. Now I realize I don't have no boundaries because I gave all my oxygen to the person beside me. How do I get to next? Right. And so some of the things is, first of all, becoming self-aware. Right. One of the things that you should realize, if in this moment you're watching and you're saying, I identified this. Like, I realize I don't have any clear boundaries. You are now self aware, right? One of the things that we get to change are once we know that we need to change, right? So now you're self aware. Now you need to figure out, what are my triggers, right? What are the things that make me, what are some words that I need to hear that let me know that this is not my battle to fight? What are some things I need to hear that lets me know that this is not for me and I need to resource them out? I need to hand them over somewhere else. I need to connect them to some things, right? Because boundaries also include me connecting you, because I ain't leaving you, right? One of the things, again, these boundaries aren't about me saying F you, right? These boundaries aren't about me saying never am I gonna help you, right? These boundaries are for me, right? These boundaries are so my mental is good, so my health is good, right? So my physical is good, so my emotionals are good. But I also, if I can help you, then I will. And so this is also like, hey, here's some counseling services. Hey, here's some food services. Hey, here's some places you can call, but I can't, right? Like, this isn't what I do, right? This is my no. But what are the triggers that you have that you're gonna need? What are the energy drainer things, right? Like, if you know that whenever your friend calls about that same person that they still in a relationship with and they gonna go back to, do I handle that? Or do I finally say, hey babe, look, I can't do it no more. I love you, and if you need me for any other thing, then call me. Boundaries. Again, that boundary wasn't me not showing up for you. That boundary wasn't me not. My boundary is that I can't. Not no more. It drains. You don't have to give them that, but I'm just saying for you, like, it drains me. This is triggering. I can't deal with it. It's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. This is not it for me. Then be able to name the things that you need clearly, right? So, kind of with that same situation, I need you to whatever. Use the I statements because it's ownership. This is what I need, right? Again, this setting boundaries has nothing to do with the other person or rejection of them. The boundaries are for you, right? The boundaries are set so that you can be successful. The boundaries are set so that you can be healthy. The boundaries are set so that you can take care of you whenever you need to, right? So I statements matter. Say them clearly and use them. I started off with I, not what you did, but what I need, right? Start them off there, right? Again, like we talked about, use those scripts we talked about earlier. Practice them because it's going to be a hard change for some of y'all. This isn't your norm, right? So what we're asking you to do, or what I'm asking you to do today, may require some practice. Find somebody else you trust and say, hey, let me practice these things on you. The most important person you can practice on is yourself, and go in that mirror and say them. Learn to say them without attitude. Learn to say them so you're not offending. Because the goal here isn't about aggression. The goal is to be able to assertively say these things because they're your feelings, and own them, right? The other thing is, make sure as you enter this space, right, that you're gonna need to know that it's gonna cause some discomfort, right? As you're changing, as you're moving forward, as you're getting to next, it is gonna be uncomfortable. For those who are not used to this behavior, for those who have no idea of who you're becoming, for those who don't even respect it but want to, because you're not gonna show up the way they need you to, they may forget that. Make sure you hold the line still. Make sure you hold steady in it. Make sure you remember in the moment that this is what you need for your success, for your mental, for your physical, for your longevity. The boundaries are necessary. The biggest thing, the biggest thing in setting boundaries is make them and become consistent. Right? So if you said no the last time, if you held it and you was proud of yourself, when you need to say it again, make sure you do so. Don't do this. Hey, yeah, but not right now. For I call you, I can't deal with it. in this moment. Okay, yeah. And you hang up, and then the guilt fall because it's gonna feel guilty because you were used to being there, right? You're used to showing up. The consistency is let the phone be. Find something that you need. Do it in that moment. Take care of you, right? So those who are out there and you're like, Nikki, this was a lot. How do I even? You can go back and watch it. You can watch it again because run the views up. But the other part is I can give you just a little flashback of the ways to make sure that you're creating some healthy boundaries. So the first one is being aware. So knowing what your triggers are, knowing where you want to put your energy, knowing the things that you don't do, know the things that are draining, right? Make sure you say it clearly. Name it. Name the things that you are not willing. Name the things that you are willing. Use I statements and make them clear. Say them without over explaining and making sure you have the scripts. I don't owe you a whole lot of explanation because my no is a period and it's a sentence, right? But if you need the scripts, then come up with the scripts that are necessary and make you comfortable. Again, this is about you, not them, right? It may cause discomfort, but hold steady. Don't let up. And the last thing and the biggest thing is just to be consistent. Be consistent in whatever it is in these boundaries that you create. Again, this is about putting your mask on, not never getting to their mask, but make sure you put yours on first. Because nothing that you will do will help if you're going to take care of you first. Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. Episode 2 watchers. Hey y'all. Hey, I appreciate you all for being here. I actually just want to take a moment to thank the amazing people over at Riverside. That's the platform that we use to do production. I also want to thank Cara Presley and Donna Kemp. Those are my graphic designers. I so appreciate you, ladies. I am grateful. All of the flyers, all of the things that you get to see online. That is them pushing me to my next. Um, to my listeners, I am so grateful for you. Continue to comment. I will go back and write and do all of the things, but I also challenge you to share. If you've got something from this, go share that thing. If you've got something from this, do it. Put it to action, right? And when it works, talk about it somewhere else. That's the way to help this platform grow, and that is what I need from you, and I'm grateful for it. Um, invite if people who are wanting to be guests on here, please make sure you inbox me on any social media platform that I have, or you can email us at Coach Nikki dot cwn at gmail.com. And then next week's topic, we're going to deep dive into what the check-in actually is, but we're also going to have a special guest on an episode who talks about how do you support somebody in this space. I won't tell y'all who it is, but it's who y'all been asking for. So again, I'm super grateful that you guys are here with me. Thank you so much. We will be here next Thursday, 7 p.m. Do not miss it. Make sure while you're out that you're paying attention. Paying attention costs you nothing initially, but if you don't, it will cost you everything. Peace.